Amidst the cold concrete, the towering structures huddled together forming an imposing skyline. The din of downtown TO traffic buzzing in the air. Something special's about to happen. The march has just begun. You can feel it. A swell of electricity building in every house, apartment, school, center, and square. From St. John's to the Yukon, a pulsating current of excitement across this northern land. Every step of the way, from October's first game, you've been there. New recruits and lifetime enthusiasts, casual observers and die-hard fanatics, together for one reason, because you love your team. And as you lift your voice, show your pride, and fill every empty space with passion and camaraderie, the whole world's watching. It's Game 1. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
You don't know me yet, but you're gonna.
On the shores of Lake Ontario, beautiful Toronto, Ontario, Canada, site of the 1995 NBA draft. They played the first NBA game in this city in 1946. There's the new parquet for the expansion Raptors. I doubt back in 46 that they had a mascot. And I sincerely doubt that the mascot ever floated down from the ceiling of the arena as he did tonight to tip off the NBA draft.
I'll never forget the week of the draft. I kept saying, Isaiah, who are we going to take? And he said, well, we're not going to get Garnett. You know, he's probably going to be gone. Well, who are we going to take? And then finally, the night of the draft, he said, we're taking Damon Stoudamire, and if you tell anyone, you know, it's going to create problems.
There it is, the Toronto Raptors celebrating draft night in the NBA.
I knew Toronto was drafting me in November, actually late November, probably early December. The only way I wasn't going to get drafted by here is if Kevin Garnett didn't go number 5 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So, you know, once I seen Garnett went 5 to Minnesota, I knew I was going here because I didn't even go work out for Vancouver. I never worked out for them, so I knew I wasn't getting drafted there, and pretty much that was a done deal.
With the 7th pick in the 1995 NBA draft, their first draft and their first pick, the Toronto Raptors select Damon Stoudamire from the University of Arizona.
John Bitov, you know, what I'll say about him is he's about as energetic of a guy as it came. You know, he was, you know, it's funny because, you know, you kind of go back in time and you look at when that draft, when David Stern made the announcement, you had Bitov right back there, and he was like, yes, and I was like, yep, that's my guy.
We feel that this is a guy that we wanted all along in the draft. We liked the sophomores and we liked the high school kid, but we wasn't going to have a chance to get him. After that, we felt that the next best player in the draft was Damon Stoudamire. We think with the way the game is changing right now, with the three-point line, his speed, his quickness, the way the pick and roll is played, the up-tempo game that we like to play, he definitely fits the style that we want to play here.
Down to 5 now as Stoudamire tries to get some help from Tabak. Jordan with the quick hands. 2 on the shot clock. Damon Stoudamire! Oh, my goodness! And Jordan was all over him, almost got the ball.
He was amazing. Not only was he amazing from his style of play, because he was a small man and everyone could relate to him, but yet he was a very generous and gracious person. And, you know, the NBA at that time didn't really do us any favors because we had an expansion roster where we had to take bad contracts, bad attitudes, but the guys that came, you know, Damon was in the middle of them, and they allowed him to grow, they allowed him to mature, and they allowed him to become what he became, and that was the Rookie of the Year. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Rookie of the Year, Damon Stoudamire.
It was just a great feeling, you know, that him being a point guard, having belief in me, drafting me as his first ever draft pick, you know, it was just great. And those years that we had together, you know, nobody can ever take that back. I got so much knowledge within that time.
You know, he's special, and I hope all of you in Canada, across the United States, never take this young man for granted, because You're not gonna see too many guys like this come along. And the things that he did in one season, don't take it for granted and really appreciate it when you come out and watch him every night, because you can get a bag of popcorn and a soda and enjoy him all night long. And I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna kiss you. Because I love you.
We used to sit back a lot. Sometimes we would stay in the Sky Dome, game would be over. We'd be back there talking till 12:30, 1 o'clock, talking about how can we get better as a team.
Not giving many standstill shots.
I would have liked to have seen you play with Vince.
Right.
That would have been.
Me and Vince talk about that all the time. Even me and T-Mac. Me, T-Mac, and Vince. Like, no trades, no nothing, because they drafted all of us. So there you got your starting 1, 2, and 3. Now you can pick who you want at the 4 and the 5. It don't matter. You know what I mean? So, believe me, we used to talk about it when we seen each other, for sure.
Well, you know, it's a special feeling, but I think the biggest thing right now is to try to get off to a good start. You know, that's the biggest thing you want to do, you know.
Second year, we were pretty good. You know, I think we won about 32 games, and I think the Miami Heat made the playoffs that year. They might have won about 36 games. So, you know, give or take, if we mature, we can make ground. 36 games to get into the 8th playoff spot. Let's see if we can do it. So obviously, we come out and go the complete opposite direction. We lost 19 games in a row that year. There was ownership troubles. You know, people were going back and forth doing some things, and you know, you just didn't know. There was a lot of uncertainty, you know, and what was going on. And so it was just a big dark cloud over our franchise, and you know, it showed on the floor. And I'm not gonna say that, you know, it was one particular thing or another, because when I look back on the whole situation, it was really, on my part, it was a lack of maturity. You know, being a young guy, not knowing that, you know, you can't soak and pout. They make changes all the time, you know, my man, like, suck it up, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I would say now, you know, but when I was 23, 24 years old, it was like, it hurt. I'm like, man, y'all taking away the people that brought me here.
It has been a crazy week in Toronto, but easily the most important in the young history of this franchise. The Raptors changing ownership on Thursday. The Toronto Maple Leafs buying the Raptors, and then the building as well. So the two teams will play in Air Canada Centre beginning in 1999. Then Friday, the blockbuster deal we had been waiting for. Damon Stoudamire dealt to the Portland Trail Blazers, and then the resignation of head coach Darryl Walker, Butch Carter taking over. The trade itself, Stoudamire to his hometown of Portland, along with Carlos Rogers and Walt Williams, in exchange for Kenny Anderson, who still hasn't reported, Gary Trent, Alvin Williams, first-round draft picks, and cash.
You know, I remember getting traded. Got traded February 14th. I think it was Valentine's Day, right? Yeah, I'll never forget it. I was in New Jersey, laying in the bed, you know, just kind of rolling over. It was like 9 in the morning, and I got a call from Portland, Oregon, from a number I never knew. And, you know, on the other line, it was Bob Whitson, and he said, Damon, how would you like to come home and play back in Portland, you know? And I said, yeah. I said, you know, that's fine. And, you know, that's kind of how it went. You know, it's just kind of crazy. Woke up one morning, a Raptor, get a call, traded, airport in New Jersey, come back, pack about 3-4 bags, off to Portland, had a game on Sunday. You know, and it was like I never played here. You know what I mean?
Sandra Neal caught up with Damon Stoudamire as he departed Toronto yesterday.
So this is it, Damon. 2.5 years being one of the most popular sports celebrities in Toronto, and you're leaving so quietly. There's nobody here.
Well, I mean, you know, I really didn't expect anybody to be here. It's kind of a sad moment because this is the end of my time here once I get on the plane and leave. But, you know, I had a great time here. The fans were great to me. You know, I want to thank, especially the fans, I want to thank them, and I want to thank everybody who supported me. You know, I was here for the 2.5 years I was here.
Yeah, I have a lot of regrets. You know, the biggest regret I have is that I shortchanged myself here from a sense that I should have stayed and gave it a shot, you know, because that's what you do. You know, you don't leave, you know, when the going is rough, because being the face of the franchise, that's like the immaturity of it all. You know, you just, you know, it's like, I'm mad, I'm sulking, get me out of here. Nah, that's not how it works. You know what I mean? So I feel like sometimes I could have ended my career here. Maybe I didn't end my career here, but my point is I should have been here longer than 3 years. It was shortchanged. It was too short-lived.
You realize that you introduced thousands of Canadians to the game of pro basketball, and they really embraced it because of you, and you know, a lot of them fell in love with you. How does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel great that I can be looked up to. You know, I go out and I play very hard, and I compete 100%. So, you know, I think that everybody's seen the determination that I had on top of the skills, and I think that's what people liked about me.
I'm really honored and flattered when I come back up here, the way people, you know, connect with me. And, you know, even when I'm in the States, sometimes I see a lot of Canadians and they'll come up to me and say the same thing, you know. But I guess if I did have to be remembered for something, just helping the people of Canada understanding basketball and being the face for them, and being kind of like, I felt like when I was in Canada, and this kind of sums it up for me, I felt like I was the people's champ because I was small. Everybody could relate to me. I wasn't 6'10", I wasn't 7 feet. I was the people's champ. Everybody could look me in the eye. Even yesterday when I got here, I seen some people, man, you shorter than what I thought. So I always feel like I'm the people's champ, and I gave that inspiration to a whole lot of people. And I think that's why this city gravitated towards me. Doing my season is hard, I'm not gonna lie. It's hard to just watch NBA, period. So when our season's over, I try to watch a little bit. I know that they've struggled here a little bit towards the end of the season. And, you know, I would say, some people would say they're limping into the playoffs, you know, but depending on the situation, it could be a good thing or a bad thing. But I tell you what, the only thing that happens now is that you can prepare for one opponent. It's actually easier, but you just gotta know that they preparing for you the same way. You know, so weaknesses are exposed. You know, the margin of error is very little now. You know, guys that play well all year can have a bad series and the season is over. Guys that haven't done as much can have great series and put a team over the hump. Like that's why it's the playoffs. A little more pressure. The one thing that can't happen to the Raps is that they can't let another team come in here and steal home court advantage from them. Not saying you can't get it back, but that first game is important. You know, win that first game, put the pressure on them to try to beat you the second game.
In the words of Gerald Green, the 1989 Final Four, when he walked through the Kingdom, he said, "This is what I came for."
Absolutely.
This is what it's all about. Raptor fans have waited a year. The team has waited a year. One more goal to check off, and that's advancing through the first round. The NBA playoffs kick off today in Toronto for the entire league.
Vibe is crazy. It's 2 times as better than last year. Everyone knows the hype. We the North, the Raptors are here. We got Washington. First game, everybody's here. It's gonna be crazy.
I'm excited. The weather's good. It's like God is shining upon us.
This is insane. Words cannot describe the amount of people that show up on a Saturday morning. It's crazy.
Great to see our Raptors in the playoffs again, and great to see so much support. I love Toronto! And that's our city, baby!
If that doesn't motivate you, I don't know what will. I mean, this kind of support is unprecedented for a Raptor franchise. And when you feed off of stuff like that, you know not only Toronto fans, but you have the whole country behind you. People have traveled from all over Canada to come check you guys out. You've got to be motivated to perform in that situation.
This is not the same team as it was last year defensively. And on the other side of the coin, Wizards are a pretty decent defensive team.
They are. They have good interior size. Their guards are quick. But I think when you talk about comparing this year's team to last year's team, you don't want a duplicate of last year's team. You just want the ability to try and get to that point. You want them to understand the value of playing defense. And I really thought early in the season, when they were racking up all those wins, they kind of got away from understanding that the defense was going to sustain them throughout an 82-game season. And because they were winning games, scoring a lot of points, that false sense of security built in, and we saw them struggle after the All-Star break. Well, you should have learned, the message has been sent, understanding that if you get it done on the defensive end, you're likely to come out of this series with a W.
Anyone who has been in this league a long time, and if you've had any success going through the first, second, third, and fourth rounds, you understand the first thing is throw out whatever you did during the season with this new team. Because one, you have a day off in between games. Number two, all of the adjustments are going to be made now. The game is going to be refereed differently. It's going to become more of a half-court game. Number three is that their three best players are no longer going to play 30 to 34 minutes. They're going to play 38 to 42 minutes if they stay in the game, not injured or not in foul trouble. This dictates and changes everything about your early success there in the season. Throw it right out the window.
Morning. Raise your hand if you have a question. The microphone will come to you.
Coach, both teams really evenly matched record-wise. Does the season series factor in mentally at all?
No, not at all. It's a new game, new start. I'm sure they're going to have some new things and wrinkles in what they do as well as we will. So I think you just throw that out the window. If anything, it probably motivates them a little bit more with having edge. So we don't look at that now. We looked at a lot of film, all the games that we played, and what we can change, what we can do differently, and go from there.
To win one game or to win 4 games, you got to be at your best, and that's what you kind of hope for. It's a long series. You can't weigh everything in one game, whether it's the first game or the 4th game, depending on where you're at.
For the Raptors, it's about getting together and figuring out in this playoff matchup how to be successful. Let's face it, Washington is an experienced team. They've been to the second round of the playoffs. This group knows how to win. You can throw out the fact that they're not playing well coming into the playoffs. This is a different animal. And for the Raptors, you got to be confident in who you are at this point and understand how to execute, but you've got to stay focused. You've got to stay locked in throughout this whole series. The game-to-game approach is going to determine everything, and the Raptors really have to key in on their scouting report.
We all learn together, man. Hey, get dressed now. Get ready to go.
All it took was one 2-letter word for Paul Pierce to set the tone for this playoff series when he told ESPN's Jackie McMullen that he doesn't feel that the Raptors have the it that makes you feel afraid. Well, that was enough to incur the wrath of the Toronto media, the fans, and the organization.
Well, I understand all that, and I respect that. And quite frankly, I have no problem saying that because the Raptors, this group hasn't accomplished anything from a standpoint of winning a series, so they do have to prove they have it.
Last year, I did Game 7, and when that last shot went up, everyone in the building held their breath. That's how close it was from you going to round 2 or going home early with a young team that won 48 games. Now the big thing is you have to learn from that. You have to learn the pain of going home early. Don't tell me about how close you played. All they know is that Brooklyn went to the next round. All right, and that's the attitude they must take. Nothing is acceptable now. You are going to be totally accountable by the city because the city thinks that you should be in the second round.
Win on 3, 1, 2, 3. That's okay.
The anticipation. The moment is here. 6 points in the paint for Washington. Here's Lowry. Can he get it going? There's a shot swish.
I tell you what, Valanciunas stuck that handoff right in Kyle Lowry's gut, like in football. He came off that hard and ready.
Nene, they're going right back at it. Good and tapped up, kept alive.
Well, here's an issue already. We're seeing it. You know, the rebounding is an issue for Toronto, but they got it correct.
Pierce puts it on the floor, drives, pulls up, and Washington with their first lead. He has 7. And back up top, here's Pierce, and Pierce with the 3, and he's got 10 now, all in the quarter. Raptors here at home, down 9 points through 3 quarters of action. Vasquez with it, 4:25 to go. Lou Williams with Ray. Lou from the zone. 4-point game. Beal and a foul. And Lowry is out of the game.
And he gambled the whole possession.
And Beal just waved at him. Well, Beal just waved at him as he headed back toward the bench. 82-79, Vasquez across the timeline. Amir sets a screen. Gravis a 3. Good! Gravis Vasquez just tied it up. 82-82. He wants the moment. He lives in the moment.
Saying and doing are 2 different things. A little shimmy shake there for you, Matty D. On a nice Saturday afternoon here. Big T.O. He's feeling it. We got ourselves a tie ball game.
3 of the last 4 meetings have been decided by 5 points or less, and here it is. 2 went to OT.
Oh, he almost got a hand on it and came up just a little bit short. But a well-designed play by Dwayne Casey, as they had a pretty decent chance at that. We'll go to overtime.
18 offensive rebounds for Washington. 85-82. Clock down to 5, makes his move, help comes, leaves the knee right there. Timeout.
Well,
and the Raptors down 5.
The defensive rebounding has just killed the Raptors.
Washington takes game 1, 93-86 in overtime.
You know, I've been in a lot of tough environments. You know, this is right up there at the top. I said, you know, even last year when we won the series, I was like, I didn't want to come back to Toronto to be in this environment. It's a tough environment to play in. It's a tough place to win in. But you got to love these moments. You got to love these type of buildings. They're excited about their team. It's one of the best crowds I've ever been a part of on the road. And, you know, I think it's something that really drives me. You know, I get more enjoyment going on the road, getting the win than I do at home.
Now it's the series. Now it's the series. Same spot we were in last year. Nothing changed. We upset because we lost, yeah, but they haven't won the series yet. It's just starting. It's just starting. So let's come in tomorrow, get your rest tonight. Let's come in tomorrow and fix it up for what's broke. Here we go. Together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Together.